So tell me about yourself.
I'm really lonely, but I'm worried the more desperate you are, the less attractive that makes you, so it's kind of a... Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
Hey, how's it going? Never really done this kind of thing before.
I have. I've done it way too many goddamn times. I'm about at the point where I want to just start masturbating under the table while maintaining eye contact just to see if anyone notices.
I see.
Sorry. I'm just jaded. You do these events and you meet the same people over and over, or rather you don't meet them because everyone's generically trying to appeal to the largest number of people and it just feels so pointless.
Sorry? Why come then?
Because the people I meet at work are the worst, and because approaching a stranger in a bar is just prejudice and a flowery typeface.
I sure wouldn't date anyone where I work. What do you...
Stripper. Not because it was the only avenue for me or because I just needed to pay for school, but because I genuinely like being naked in front of large groups of people despite the cognitive dissonance of that situation necessitating the kind of audience that immorally thinks the human body is inherently taboo.
You sure are, forthcoming.
You sure are still talking to me because a certain level of conventional beauty mitigates an equal level of craziness. Look, compatibility is based off specificity, right? So tonight I thought I'd be as specific as possible as a shortcut to eliminating everyone who's not a good match. So you've got all your potential matches, right? And then either I can say, hi, my name is Joan, and I took economics in school, and I really like movies, and I believe you've already met my giant rack. And then I'm gonna be here all goddamn night. Or I can say, hi, my stage name is Candy, and don't you hate it when you're sliding naked down a pole in front of the kind of businessmen who are ruining the country, and one of them throws a 5 and someone used a Sharpie to make the guy in the bill, I don't know his name, look like Spock, and you have to fight not to burst into laughter in the middle of your twerk routine because it would humanize you, and that's worse for business in a way that your cellulite only dreams of. And yes, I just narrowed the dating field down to people with a stripper fetish. But hopefully, there's also a couple people who heard the nuances of what I was saying, or the way I was saying it, or even my willingness to say it, and regardless of my career choices, something fundamentally resonated. Which is who you want to be dating. Thus, radical honesty. I mean, it's supposed to be speed dating, right? This just makes it like warp speed dating.
That was probably something to it. I mean, basically all I heard there were the 2 references to Star Trek, so right on, eh?
My favorite series is Voyager.
So what kind of music you like?
Oh, I don't know. I like stuff from a bunch of different genres, I guess.
Wow, risky strategy, that's for sure.
Is it though? If I tell every potential date that I think the criminal justice system should be restructured so that multiple accusations of sexual assault against one individual are classified as evidence and the high percentage of convictions introduced by this fundamental change would outweigh the small number of false convictions, then I'm weeding out entire groups. People who think sexual assault is no big deal. People who hate women with opinions. People who hate new ideas. People who can't handle differences of opinion. Or even just people who think I'm an idiot because they have the experience to know better. And so who's left? Sociopaths who don't listen to what I'm saying regardless of what it is because to them I'm just Barbie with shorter legs. But then also people who appreciate either my sentiment or my motivations. You whittle it down. You're still here, so which group are you?
The too polite to leave until the 7 minutes are up, even though staying when you don't like the person isn't really polite? Group?
Ah, right. Them too.
What do you like to do?
Oh, I like traveling and food festivals.
And live music?
But not country.
And I like drinks with friends and
taking photos. Like I kind of want to
Be a photographer, maybe?
And I also like staying in
and just chilling sometimes. But like whatever works, I guess.
Oh, me too. We have so much in common, eh?
What do I like to do? I don't know. Watch YouTube videos about Russian prisons or people who died doing BDSM, and then either half-heartedly masturbate or read shitty 80s sci-fi paperbacks, or both at once until one becomes more engrossing than the other, but either way, kills 3 hours. You don't want to finish too fast. It's supposed to be about the journey, right? Yourself?
cooking?
Yeah, I just eat hot dogs and shit. I figured the time you save by not cooking will roughly equal the extra years you'd live if you spent that time preparing actually healthy meals, so it's a zero-sum game. Or I just don't give a shit because I'm vain as fuck and when I'm old and ugly I won't want to live anyway. I forget which. Next!
You're trying what now?
Just being, like, really specific instead of general, I guess. You know when you see a couple and you ask him, oh, what do you like about her? And he's like, well, she's so beautiful, instead of naming an actual personality trait. And then eventually there's someone's miserable grandparents. Like, The opposite of that, I guess. Radical honesty, maybe? I'm weird and alone, and I figured I'd try and be upfront about basically everything and hopefully find someone who likes those differences, kind of thing.
So I'm guessing that's why the first thing you said was,
Yeah, that's why I'm leading off with, hi, my name is Jeremy and I'm a virgin. I'm completely sex positive, though. I mean, I've never been in space, but I'm definitely pro-astronaut.
But that's like so risky.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're obviously horrified, but for someone who wasn't, these 7 minutes would be flying past.
Instead of not.
I don't know. It's like I can date someone and wish they were a certain way, or I can just say, hi, I'm looking for someone who thinks that two people reading quietly counts as doing something together, and then maybe actually find someone who thinks that. You only need to be attractive to one person, right?
Yeah, totally.
How's it going?
Bad. Horrible. Oh my god. Holy fuck! Why was I born? The shame! I'm bald. Good. Yourself?
That seems risky. Don't you think you're giving people too big of a hurdle?
Oh, I know. You can go best foot forward to get yourself in the door, after which it's easier to have your quirks overlooked once they emerge. Or you can do the opposite, where in bait and switch is impossible, but then you're faced with the possible condition that you have insufficient bait to catch anyone. I guess I'm just theorizing that whatever idiosyncrasy sits alone in one's Pandora's box is enough to attract someone fundamentally compatible.
Plus, the longer they're inside the door, the harder it is to break up with them, even if they're entirely wrong for you, eh?
Well, exactly. See, you get it. God, I wish I was gay.
I know, me too. All right, I should get back in there. Nice meeting you, actually.
Godspeed.
So tell me about yourself.
You know what? It's like this. I'm super nice, but I can be unavailable for weeks at a time due to anxiety and depression, so whoever I end up with has to believe that the good times make the bad times worth it. I'm just gonna lead off with that.
Okay, then. No, you know what? Seriously. Thanks for being so upfront. That's really cool, actually.
Thanks.
You just have to forget about the awkwardness of failing. The system objectively doesn't work, so you change the system.
Oh, God, you're one of them. Do I even dare ask who you think should pay on the first date?
The restaurant should pay, because they principally make money off alcohol, so promotion where you let first daters eat for free would be a fun way to get business and publicity while also helping out a bunch of nervous young people who have enough to worry about and who are probably broke anyway.
That is actually not bad.
What's on your mind?
I'm really sick of feeling like a weirdo outsider when I don't deserve to. It's the assholes who should feel like they don't matter. It's the racist pieces of shit who don't belong. They're the ones who should feel like society isn't for them. They're the ones who should be wallowing in self-doubt and alienation. I'm sick of good people feeling bad and bad people feeling good. That's what's on my mind.
Fuck. Good answer.
Radical honesty. Fine. I secretly want to find someone who's into watching bullfighting as much as I am. See? And now you're horrified.
Yeah, but if I wasn't horrified to the core of my being right now, this would be a huge moment for you, right? Focus on that.
You know what? Fuck it. I like two things. The beach and pegging. I like two things. The beach and pegging. I like two things. The beach and pegging. I like two things. The beach and pegging.
Oh my God, really?
This is gonna be awesome.
I know. Not only did I find a non-crazy guy on a dating site, but you're actually real as well.
Well, you should still...
Scan your entire Twitter history for problematic bullshit and then Google your name in quotes along with things like court date and multiple wives and triple homicide? Yep, way ahead of you. 0 hits, by the way.
Right on. So I'll see you tonight. Really looking forward to it.
Me too. I can't wait. You can switch out the meat in any of the burgers for vegetarian things. I love that about this city. Sorry, I'm just pretending to find the menu super interesting instead of
capitulating to awkward silence. Oh, I know. Wow, they list the calories of everything.
Wow, 750 calories in a mushroom. Who would have thought? Yeah, sorry. This is why the first line of my dating profile was like, hi, I have terrible problems. Just getting that one out in front.
Oh, did you ever read that John Ronson book about shame?
Yes! Oh my God, it's like, yeah, just own it. People don't care what you did. They just want to be superior to someone, so don't play into it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to imply you have anything to be ashamed of, though.
Oh, I do. Dude, I was in a nerdcore band for like a year once, literally rapping in a fake English accent because the entire point of it was 3 people who were too afraid to be authentic. I'm like maths when the shit goes on. I divide the squares, then I'm octagon.
Okay, that is hilarious.
No, it really isn't. It's just one of those abandoned projects on the way to finding your voice. Envious is not my voice.
Well, whatever. This is already 10,000 times better than the last date I went on.
Yeah? I just tend to assume I'm 100 times worse than everyone else. It's kind of a depression anxiety thing, I guess. One word. You're not getting one without the other. I don't know why there are two separate words now that I think about it, but I'm always thinking about it. Please interrupt me.
I totally get it. Like, I've known people, I've had my moments. It's just hard to conceptualize what it's like for someone who has it worse, but I want to try at least.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. There needs to be some kind of catch-all term for the whole anxiety, doubt, fear, self-hatred, self-sabotage ball of wax. Yikes, ball of wax. There's the hot new lingo of 1920. Boomas, am I right? Anyway, yeah, when you're talking depression, it's just the whole thing of not feeling like there's a point to doing anything because you're so shitty, or the world is so shitty, and you can't stop telling yourself that, even though you know it's not true. It's not true, like it's not, but you just want to believe for whatever reason.
It's not true. All night you've been apologizing for, like, standard things.
I know! Obligatory line where I apologize for apologizing. You can at least somewhat take it as a compliment in that I'm so afraid of losing this and I'm generally anxious around you, and then I'll eventually let myself be comfortable around you in like 3 years.
I can wait. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, you know what I mean.
Thanks.
Hey, there are whole countries like that, you know? I read in a guidebook about Denmark once. They're all like an old ketchup bottle. At first, nothing comes out, and then eventually all of it comes out all at once. So, yeah, ketchup.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's kind of me for sure, except no one's willing to keep shaking the bottle. I love metaphors, actually. Like with depression, there are a lot of comic strips I could send you that one thing where depression's like a broken hand that people keep telling you to just get over.
Yeah, I've seen that, I think. Oh, just man up. Because that's a thing.
Oh, I know. I actually have my own metaphor for it, though. It's like this thing where, I don't know, did you ever watch that show, The X-Files?
Oh, yeah, back in the day for sure.
I actually didn't, but yeah, back in the olden times of actually using your TV back in 1920, I did that thing where you randomly watch a show you've never seen, and then like 2 years later, you randomly decide to watch it again, and you change the channel, and it's
the exact same episode?
Yes! Oh my God. So yeah, I've literally seen one episode twice, but it's the one where X-Files and Lady X-Files are trapped in this big fungus thing, and it makes them hallucinate, and they can't tell if they're awake or dreaming, and it keeps tricking them into thinking they've escaped, but they're still trapped. And that's kind of the basis for my depression metaphor. It's this thing where you keep slipping into another reality, and you don't notice, and then it's too late.
Oh, okay, so like you're telling yourself you suck, even though you know you don't, and even though you know it's not your real voice saying that.
Yeah, it's not like you're trapped in a fungus, though. It's like you're sitting in your living room and you're talking to someone about your problems, and they're just laying into you about how shitty you are, how you might as well not even bother dating because you're just going to be wasting everyone's time. And you're kind of nodding along, and then you look up and you realize you've been talking to like depression guy. You were just sitting there reading, and this horrible dude snuck in your front door, sat down and started saying shit to you, and it took you like 2 days to notice, and now it's too late, and you'll be sad for weeks. Weeks if you're lucky, sad if you're lucky.
Depression guy. I'm just picturing like the stereotypical mustache villain who ties people to train tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Except he's dressed more subtly, like he belongs there. He's camouflage, he's all articulate too. He's like hipster mustache villain. The modern version. He blends in so you don't see it coming, but then he suddenly annihilates your self-esteem before you could remember that this keeps happening. That's kind of how I see it anyway. I swear to God, I have to think of depression as this outside entity that tricks you into forgetting reality, because intellectually, I do know that I'm all right, that I'm good and kind to everyone, that the number one symptom of being a bad person is not worrying about how good of a person you are. There's just this total asshole that keeps sneaking in and ruining your life, and you're trapped. And then suddenly, it's been a week since I left the house, and the cycle continues.
Yeah, it's some X-Files stuff for sure, eh? Oh, what was your rapper name, by the way?
God. Lady Anna Trump.
Right on, right on.
You see? Shame-tastic.
It does help me understand, though, actually, the whole depression guy thing.
Does it? Come upstairs. Innocently, not suggestively. I don't nothing on my very first date, but now you're
Is that supposed to be I don't do nothing?
I don't do nothing. Does my psychotic metaphor actually make sense? Hi, I habitually lose touch with reality. Pretty good date, huh?
Yeah, for sure it makes sense. I think this date was pretty great. If it rhymes, it must be true.
All right. Thanks.
Like I said, when the server shows up and you both forgot to decide what to order, that's like the best possible sign, right?
Yeah, I think maybe it was a good date, actually.
Well, in retrospect, it wasn't a perfect date. You did kind of overshare a lot, actually.
Oh, God. I did, didn't I? I know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Sometimes people are just kind of politely humoring you. I know it seemed like everything was fine at the restaurant, but if you really go over all the stuff you said...
I was at least semi-articulate, though, wasn't I? I really tried to explain the whole depression thing and not be all ashamed.
There are different kinds of depression, too, though, right?
Oh, my God, yeah. I was just trying to kind of conceptualize my own situation. But yeah, some people just have terrible chemical things that cause it, or they have issues stemming from childhood.
Well, exactly. That's why metaphors are so juvenile. Whatever your good intentions, people are going to assume you're speaking for everyone.
Oh, no. You're right.
What's the difference between omission and ignorance? People these days tend to search for easy answers, convenient little blurbs that can explain huge, complex issues, and you're just doing that.
Yeah.
You should have put something like that in your dating profile. How you're really kind of self-absorbed and naive. How you're really immature and whoever dates you is going to have to put up with a lot. And then you have to ask yourself, if your dating profile requires so many disclaimers at the front of it,
then there's probably not much point in having one.
Because you'd just be wasting somebody's time. Other people aren't like you. They're more mature and centered and a lot happier. And you can't just show up with all your issues and expect them to tolerate you.
Yeah.
There's a certain level you have to get to before you're entitled to love and mutual support, right?
I can imagine it, though. I just went on a date that went pretty well. That was me. I can do it. I believe I can do it.
That was like a week ago. He actually texted half a dozen times before he gave up. That must be a new record.
I told him about you, you know. He wasn't bothered. You assume you know how people will react, but you're never right. You're just...
You assume they're telling you the truth, though. Generally, only the insults are people telling you how they really feel.
I remember it, though. That was me. Just like I can always imagine the worst when I'm doing all right, I can at least picture the best when I'm severely depressed. Hey, it rhymes at least.
Barely.
Well, I at least want to believe.
Hey, how's it going?
Usual. Can't win them all.
Yeah, or any of them.
I've seen you around. My name's Ted. Nice to meet you.
Why do you do that?
Shake hands with people I already know like I'm meeting them for the first time? I don't know. I just think it's funny or something.
God, you're weird. Snack?
We're already in a restaurant. Yeah, I'm weird.
Yeah, you are.
Dude, when I first met you, you were wearing a Friends t-shirt, and you said you didn't even like the show. You just like the concept of friendship.
Fuck whatever, that was grade 7. I can't be held responsible for things I did back then. You were the one actually watching that show. You probably still watch it, like that guy from that Mad TV sketch where he's imaginary friends with all the characters. Hey Joey, pass the chips.
Okay, have you ever gone back and watched the show Friends? It's garbage, man. It's actually the worst.
Yeah, probably even I think that show's too white.
It's not even that. It's more like there are two things to know about the show Friends, right? Number one is that every funny thing you remember is from the first season, when the actors were nobodies with average incomes playing nobodies with average incomes, instead of millionaires playing regular people like aliens in human costumes. And number two is, damn it, I lost my train of thought.
Hey, feeling all right? Raging on stage here.
Just really tired this week. I'm fine though.
Ted Lindbergh.
Okay, so yeah. And number two is that in a contemporary TV show, Ross would be a goddamn supervillain. People forget what the 90s were like. Watch a few episodes. You'll just be staring in horror at this nightmarish asshole you're being told is somehow the protagonist. The show is basically saying, yeah, it's perfectly good and fine and protagonist-ish for a guy to be this gigantic, jealous, petty, manipulative bastard who literally yells at women for doing the same things he does because it's fine for a guy to do it. Fuck, it's jaw-dropping if you go back and watch it now. There should have been the one with the intervention where the other four sit Rachel down and tell her she needs to stop going back to this abusive loser.
Holy shit, the fun police is out in force. Calling all cars.
Come on, this is the show that invented the friend zone after all. It's the Robert Oppenheimer of all that men's rights bullshit. Destroyer of worlds, Martha.
Friend zone. That's where little dickless internet losers hang around a chick they want to screw who obviously doesn't return their feelings or some damn thing?
Yeah, it's where dudes objectify women to the extent that women equal sex, so if you're not sleeping with a chick, then you're getting ripped off or whatever the fuck these quote-unquote people are telling themselves. Sorry, I just get really mad about this shit.
I'm pretty sure people think I'm friend-zoning you. Stupid people, but still. Even after however many years they see you helping me move apartments, and they're like, oh, this guy, he's just biding his time.
That's just it. This kind of bullshit infects the general discourse, and then you're feeling weird about things that are perfectly normal just because some stupid sitcom was written by idiots and forced on everyone via a monoculture that we're only now digging ourselves out from.
There's the liberal arts degree talking.
So yeah, I probably have felt weird about it a few times, but there's a long list of great people I'm still going to be friends with in 20 years because I'm not sleeping with them. And then there's also an opposite list that I prefer not to think about. Not everything that's good looks that way from the outside.
Well, what people are probably saying is that everyone's looking for a partner, so if you found someone you like spending time with, then why not just go ahead and date them?
I don't know, because it's nobody else's business maybe?
Oh, that's such a cop-out, though. Despite how liberal everyone's pretending to be, I'm sure you're still getting a few comments about your chick best friend and why don't you just hook up, and I guarantee it bothers you.
You know what? Yeah. And when I don't get comments, I imagine them, and then I even question myself, even though it's bullshit. But at least it fucking weeds out the judgmental people. You know why you're gonna be the best man at my wedding? Because I'm gonna be marrying somebody who's fine with that.
Hey, you too, broski. Even if I elope to Vegas for a 3-minute ceremony, I still want you hovering nearby in some official capacity.
Oh, I'm maid of honor.
You do get comments then, eh?
I have friends who don't get it. Like, they don't say it outright, but they say nothing instead of stuff they'd normally say if you were a dude. Granted, these are the same friends who will, unprompted, repeatedly go out of their way to tell me how non-racist they are.
You know what I think? I think your friends are a bunch of slack-jawed fat—
All right, let's just say we agree that people should fucking shut up. What do you say when people ask?
Besides, fuck you, Mom? I don't know, the reflex is always, no, we're just friends. But at the same time, that's kinda, what's the word?
Fucking lame as shit?
Yeah, there it is.
Well, fuck. Yeah, exactly. Just friends. That's such garbage. Having someone trust you and want to consistently be in the same place as you, it's the worst.
Yeah. We're not going out, Mom. We're just in a situation of permanent mutual support and understanding. We're trying to work through it, though.
Yeah, you know, we're just attractive to others in the first place because of the confidence from being accepted by another person.
Yeah, as much as I genuinely see every month as an opportunity for a Baskin-Robbins number of one-night stands, there's probably something to be said for how we've been hanging out since grade 7, whereas the longest I've dated a guy for is maybe 7 months.
Man, grade 7. It's been that long, eh? That's nuts. And we haven't once woken up naked together in a hotel room at someone else's wedding, like TV said would happen?
Well, I think sitcoms in reality are just friends. How's it going with the online dating there?
Man, it's interesting. After about 5 seconds, you notice how everything on here is so contrary to how women are portrayed in the media. Everyone's just like, fuck it. I want sex every day, I want to see Pearl Jam in 30 countries, and then I want a joint, and here's a selfie of me on top of a fucking mountain. I'm building a whole stand-up routine about it, actually. So I finally found a video game with really well-rounded female characters. It's called OkCupid, or something.
I took a selfie on top of a really fat guy once.
And yeah, you know me, I really want to write shit that says something about what it's like to actually be a person. And yeah, I'm learning a lot from these women. They're never what you think.
You mean we're never what you think? Holy shit, please tell me you haven't thought I was a guy with a high voice this whole time.
Sorry, I know. I just think of you as you know.
No, and that's cool. I don't like to play the vag card, but I know you think research and empathy is the key to understanding others, but people don't always tell you everything, right? There's shit I don't even tell you, so I know for sure there's shit women in general aren't mentioning alongside their top 10 list of dad rock bands. I know you stare pretty hard, but there's still shit you don't see.
Example?
Fuck, have you ever messaged a chick on there and not heard back?
Yeah, I keep writing these, like, genuinely smart and funny messages, but then nothing, usually. I know life isn't fair, but still, come on.
Yeah, but you haven't seen the other side there, have you? Like, of the two of us, you're the raging feminist for whatever reason. So you should probably get up to speed on how there's the chicks you see and there's the chicks you don't, who are on the other end of all that shit that people do to chicks when nobody can see.
I see. What don't I see, though?
Okay, you know when you see female friends on social media and they don't use their actual name? And half the time it's innocuous, so you never really know. But then a fucking bunch of the girls I went to high school with have Facebook names like Mary Fakestein and Sue Donim, because they all fucking have a violently abusive ex they're trying to not be found by. The guy that everyone thinks is great because he only savagely beats you behind closed doors. It's a thing.
Yeah, wow. And then you take the guy to trial, but nobody believes you because you didn't behave in the way they think they would behave if it happened to them?
Yeah, that whole thing. Don't rely on your imagination is what I'm saying. It's not that good. Like how you think I don't get street harassed because it never happens when you're with me?
What? You don't, though. Do you?
How can I explain street harassment to someone who literally still watches cartoons on Saturday morning? I guess it's like...
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you abuse me, honey, you'll lose me. And you'll be all alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
Shit. Sorry, that's enraging. Fuck. I always specifically hated that cartoon frog, too.
They're out there. One day there'll be sex robots, but right now we have to deal with all the guys who wish there were sex robots. The shit you don't see, Ted.
I know about some of the shit. I know that when it seems like a girl is flirting with me, it's often just her being nice to try and defuse the situation because I look like a murderer.
Or when you enthusiastically pretend to be someone's partner to ward off unwanted attention.
Because I imagine shit probably all looks totally different when you're, not as strong physically.
Dude, I've dated guys that could hold me down with one hand like it was fucking nothing. Someone corners you and you need to fucking nice your way out of it.
Yeah. For me, the only reason I'd flirt with someone is if I was specifically interested. Whereas on the other side of that power dynamic, yeah, there are probably a whole lot of other reasons.
That's why you need to be mad at the assholes. Because they ruined it for everyone.
I already am mad at assholes. I at least got the memo that sexism is everyone's problem. If you're defining yourself by how you're different from a stereotypical image of women, then you're boxing yourself in just as much. Like the way we make ourselves dumber by fetishizing certain types of intelligence over others.
How do you mean?
Let's see. How can I explain this to someone who literally watches 19 hours of TV a day?
And we're back. Susan, you have the board.
Tacit social understanding for 1600, please.
Chances are your unhappy friend just wants this instead of this.
What is for you to just listen instead of listing solutions?
Yes.
For 2000, please.
The C word is best described in this manner.
What is having different connotations to different people, so you shouldn't just use it casually?
Yes. Betty's board now.
Midwifery for 2000, please.
In human beings, this can often shorten the duration of labor before giving birth.
What is exercise?
Yes. Well, it's been a two-horse race here as we enter our final round. But remember, contestants, this last question is worth $175 million. The category is things that Arnold arbitrarily values. And the answer is, these are two things that Arnold...
What are economics and sports cars? Woo! Man, you guys don't know anything.
Yeah, whatever guys are doing is glorified by default. I got that memo. Oh, why aren't more women founding tech startups? Because I have better things to do, maybe? Why aren't more men not sending me threats of violence on Instagram? Direct messages, of course, so no one can see.
Yeah. Fuck. I would just be mad all the time, knowing that so many people have to privately put up with all kinds of sinister shit. How do you deal with that?
I don't know. It's not like it defines you, Ted. People don't want your fucking pity or for you to be some protector, man. They just want you to not be a piece of shit. They want you to not spontaneously start choking people during sex after a perfectly nice evening. And yes, that's a thing. Put that in your comedy routine. What's the deal with how literally anyone you date can suddenly turn out to be a sociopath?
But how do you not just constantly walk on eggshells?
Because you don't? Plus, I think a lot of times when the whole floor is eggshells, you really just stop giving a shit.
Hey, new girl, how'd you lose your finger?
Oh, my ex-husband pinned me to the kitchen table and cut it off with a pair of garden shears because I ordered the wrong kind of pizza for dinner. They couldn't even reattach it.
Hey, that reminds me, do you want to hit up that new pizza place next door later?
Totally. Fucking starving.
You are who you are in spite of, not because of, you know? You think you'd be mad all the time because you haven't been seeing people's hidden strength either.
Ah, touché.
Or their hidden antidepressants too, probably. How have you never been to a strip club, by the way?
I don't know. Something about having to objectify people in person?
But I know you love the ladies of a certain stature there, Mr. Feminism. Mr. fucking giant boobs loving feminism? Somehow.
Well, you don't know what it's like to be attracted to giant boobs.
Ah, touche.
Why are you not a feminist, by the way?
I don't know. I'm not a feminist. I just don't like being told what to do. If I want to get hammered in strip clubs, go home with whoever, and fucking spend the night getting turned into a sperm geode, then I don't need anyone telling me I'm a traitor for doing it. I fucking have enough problems.
Yeah, and this might literally be mansplaining feminism, but the first rule of Feminism Club is that there's no singular definition. For me, it's not about telling people what to do. It's just about making sure that everyone has the freedom to choose what to do.
That's just common sense, though, is it not? If that's even a thing anymore.
Yeah, of course. And maybe the first 2 rules of Feminism Club should be, don't talk about it, because it leads to misunderstandings. But at the same time, I feel like if you're not in people's faces, then it doesn't force the issue. One of the most progressive characters on TV was Elaine on Seinfeld, but nobody fucking noticed because the show wasn't called Me and My Male Friends Who I'm Equal To. It's all well and good to be ahead of your time, but I think you can also bring people with you as opposed to waiting for them to catch up.
You can talk about Feminism Club, Ted. Just make sure you talk to people first. Make sure you're not telling anyone how they feel. I don't even fucking know how I feel half the time.
Talk to crazy bitches who like metal?
Talk to bitches who play metal, where people will pull them aside and be like, wow, you're just as good as a guy. Also a thing. And then imagine how that would feel.
Yeah, and then imagine if, on top of that, you have the temerity to not be white or straight or...
Well, exactly. Pretty sure I see a lot of feminists who have just as narrow a definition of women as the people they're opposing.
Well, a lot of us don't, Martha. Trust me.
Honestly, dude, I'll always trust you. That's kind of my point here.
I wonder what I can do, you know? How do I be a good ally?
Look, maybe it's just me, but I'm not trying to recruit allies. You don't need to buy into the whole thing where every dude thinks it's personally up to him to go forth and save everyone. You just need to listen, be the kind of person where people will tell you things to begin with. I don't ever want you to look at me differently. That's why I hesitate to talk about this shit, and why there's stuff I might never tell you. I don't want you to feel sorry for me, I don't want you to treat me like a victim, and I don't want you to think you're a bad person. I just want you to realize that there's a lot that people don't talk about, so there's a lot you don't know. So your picture of what it's like to be a person is probably incomplete. And I know that's not what you'd want, even if the world you get isn't what you'd imagined.